He had a company, he was there, so in that regard, and they only had to add half of the dream team, and he drug his feet on the M&A lawyer. And part of the reason is because that's where he, as everybody, they feel there's a shortage of knowledge because you've never done mergers and acquisitions. And even though you have the basics and you have the tools to do what's necessary to get your first deal done, you know, some of you are going to go buy books and read books on M&A, which is a waste of fucking time. It's just procrastinating because you're afraid to pull the trigger. Some of you are going to go to finance class by whoever. You know, some of the guys over the years have gone to fucking, they've got a fucking 6-week course at Wharton, and all waste of time. You don't need any of that. One of you, this is a year or two ago, figured out there's only 31 new words to your vocabulary. I believe it's 31. 31 new words to learn what they mean. And that's if you were an artist in Paris painting the Louvre, and you had no idea. 31 new words. Not concepts, just words. You don't have to know what the fucking words mean. Mezzanine's one of them. You don't need to know what that means. And it's done, and now he's rich by most standards, but now he's got this deal he's closing, and he's got 2 or 3 more, and he's doing well, and he's a street kid. And we heard about the fact that the people are ill at ease when he comes in. These are professional Wall Street M&A guys, professional Wall Street lawyers, professional Wall Street accountants that dress like pigs. And even though you're a pig in your heart, you're gonna put lipstick on that fucking pig's lips. And it's, again, yeah.
What are your thoughts on jewelry?
Okay, none. Wedding band, watch, no rings, short hair, no earrings. I already went to that. Better skinhead like Cyclops here. It just works, you know. You saw the pictures of those guys I showed you the first day. The guy with the dreadlocks and all that, you know. I mean, the guy that had never cut his hair since he was 8 years old and all that, you know. Now, they don't know why they ever had long hair. Now, the fucking guy doesn't know why they ever fucking grew dreadlocks. Money makes up. If you don't think money can buy happiness, you don't know where to fucking shop. You're fucking brain dead, retarded. Money makes the fucking world go round. It's what you do with the money. You either, become Adolf Hitler, Dan Peña, or, somebody else. But it's what you do with the money. What's the takeaway of him?
Look for a revenue target because the company is valued on earnings.
Well, no, but he's in the business and he's a top line guy.
Think and dream big.
Yeah. I'm a top line guy too. The contest between driving revenue and cutting expenses, there's no comparison. You can always find a bean counter to cut fucking expenses. Okay, guys that drive top line revenue are few and far between. They're magic. I was one of those guys. I know how to drive revenue. I mean, I sprinkle gold, and I know how to motivate. The guys that know how to motivate salesmen, high ticket salesmen, big fucking ticket salesmen, are magic. Are fucking magic. And real big ticket items. Some of the concepts that you've already heard the last few days are magic, because there's so much out of your former sphere of influence, and just a regular. Well, he started, I believe, in sales, selling software, then selling software solutions, etc. And then he got up to chief operating officer, and then ultimately chief executive officer. Now, principal and chief executive officer. and the largest shareholder. And now every dollar he drives to the top line, and then which translates down to the bottom line, he has a lion's share of. And I mean, literally, we could have webinars like this from now till a year from now. That's how many. Saying the same thing over and over and over again. The older ones, they just have different kind of clothes because of the styles of clothes, and anything else about his presentation. I've never been to his apartment, but from the view, I mean, I think he's got the view towards New Jersey from across the water. Anything he said that didn't resonate with you?
We talked about BTF sales or something like that.
BTF, I didn't hear that.
No. Okay.
BTQ, isn't that a unit? Isn't that a software unit? No, I don't know.
Okay. He worked from his apartment in the weekends.
Correct.
Also have a home back home.
Yeah.
A house.
Yeah. All these peasants always buy a house back where they come from, so they can show everybody how rich they got. I have a doctor lady, medical doctor, come to the seminar a few months ago, and I tell the story about the reason I stopped going to weddings and I only went to weddings and funerals. I had no other social obligations that I would adhere to when I started being successful, even before I was successful. And then I finally said I can only go to weddings and funerals because I felt I had an obligation to go to the weddings and funerals. I knew these people that saw me growing up, and then, but I, how after a funeral they go back to the house and they drink coffee and have drinks and eat cake and shit like that, right? And the men had congregated in one room, and the women are all waddling their big fat asses in the kitchen. And so I go into the room and my dad would be in there, and he'd say, "This is my son who lives in a castle." Not once, not twice, but many, many times. And I told my dad, "If you say that again, Dad, I'm never coming to another fucking funeral." Well, just like you can't help yourself, this is my son that lives in a castle. Never again. That was the end. Okay. This lady doctor who's from Colombia, South America. She comes into the room when she's at a function, a family function. The mother says, "This is my daughter with an Olympic swimming pool." She has an Olympic swimming pool. This is your parents can't help themselves. So now the doc doesn't go. Your parents don't understand. They will never understand. So don't waste one fucking microsecond trying to get them to understand. And in my judgment, don't buy them a car, a fucking pillow, a fucking shack, a fucking nothing. You're fucked up because of them. So you're going to repay them for fucking you up? And when they're sitting here sobbing their eyes out, I know, Mr. Peña, we did the best we could, we didn't know any better. That's no fucking excuse, is it? They could have got smart, like my mother did. But they didn't, as they say in Scotland. So don't be feeling guilt, because I already see the guilt in your sorry vagina eyes. And speaking of vagina, please take one vagina cream and pass it around. Since you squat the pee anyway, I'm going to give you some vagina cream so you can rub on your snatch. You're an embarrassment. And we got a little bit of out of you when you're out there swinging and hitting each other in the head. I was gonna have one of you dress up like a big cunt and have your little arm coming out of the. Yeah, question.
You wanted us to remind you about the Mexicans over the weekend?
Oh, Mexican morons. I'm sure that's not politically correct. In fact, I know when I said it 30 years ago, we had these kids from Harvard, and I was there. They asked me to be their mentor, and the head of the Mexican Morons came to the seminar, and they had this deal that they wanted that I was helping them structure, and they're meeting with their accountants and their lawyers to finalize papers on Saturday. And I said that the accountants and the lawyers make sure, and two of the morons are Mexican, lawyers, and I said make sure that you come dressed in your suits, and don't let them leave the meeting until this time. The accountants show up, and the accountants come out in tennis clothes, because they were going to go to the LA Tennis Club and play tennis. So they figured that we get rid of these fucking Mexican douchebags in a short order, and we go play tennis. The lawyers showed up in golf clothes, because they were going to go play golf. We get rid of these fucking Mexican douchebags, and we're going to go. And to the credit, the Mexican morons, then I got a call about 9 o'clock at night, New York time, because I'm in New York, 6 o'clock their time. They were in Alvera Street, which is a Mexican kind of a little suburb in downtown Los Angeles where you get Mexican food, etc. And they're drunk up on pictures of margaritas. And when the accountants got there, for an hour, all they did was apologize for being dressed in tennis clothes. And when the lawyers got there, all they did was apologize for being dressed in golf clothes. And they kept them there, and they could see that they're looking at the watch and looking at the clock. And they caved in point after point after point. The closer it came time for their tea time and their tennis time. And the Mexican morons prevailed in the deal. And they called me drunk. It's about 6 o'clock at night, West Coast time, and I was on the East Coast. And they became believers that all you need is a little edge. And most of those guys, didn't want to miss. Not most, apparently all of them didn't want to miss their tea times and their tennis starting times. And you will see, it works like magic. It works like Miami, Florida, 105 degrees. The guy's going to meet, they're going to meet wherever they're going to meet, and the guy shows up in tennis clothes. You show up in your uniform. Works in Panama, which I'm getting ready to go in a few days. It works every place. And in Israel, when I'm wearing it like this, and the Minister of Energy is wearing, they wear these white short sleeve things, the shirts are outside the pant line, and no matter what, the normal, in Afghanistan, they apologize for their dress. They take you automatically more seriously. And they shouldn't, because if they knew you like I know you, that you only had to learn 31 words, okay? No concepts behind them, no definitions, nothing. They wouldn't even have the meeting, for starters. But it's a service business. Accountants and lawyers, it's like they're selling commodities now, because there's so many other people doing it. And this goes all the way up to the big four and the very biggest law firms on the planet. You have an advantage. We're teaching you how to use it here, but you got to pull the trigger. Pull the trigger. When he switched into whatever car he was switched into, and he was, I don't know if he was hurt, but he was surprised I didn't know what the fuck it was. But as you've already found out, I don't know what some of these other cars are and whether they cost any money or not. None of them cost any real money, but any money or not. And then when he switched to the penthouse, and there was a girl in that, and in his weekly report right after that, the section, what am I not telling Dan, is, that's an ex-girlfriend now. She won't be coming back to my penthouse anymore after you called her a slut, a slag. Yeah, I mean, it affects all aspects of your life, QLA. And now you've heard from various other people so far this week that have used it, and all of them are a little different. We'll hear from a few more before the week's up. But the theme, remember, success leaves clues. Okay, they all dress the same. They all say follow the steps. They all say what the old man is saying is not bullshit, is for truth. Yet, on the first Zoom call, I can pretty much guess. I'll be able to guess 90% by the end of the week which ones are going to have their thumb right up their ass and jump to his brother-in-law, father-in-law, or whatever, and not go through the process. Because all of us have default. Some of us, the default is so self-sabotaging because we've got generations of default, and we have no positive role model whatsoever to look back on. You, for the most part, and your families are going to be the first. I'll make a prediction here. These young men, and they're all young to me, these young men will be the first positive male role model in the history of their fucking families ever, dating back to caveman. You are it. And that's a sad fucking commentary, but you are it. But just think about it. Why does Dan think the human race is through? Look at you! Jeez, and if you're the best of the best, and if this is what we got to depend on for the human race to continue, holy shit. I mean, what the fuck? Which is one of my favorite comments. WTF. I didn't know what that meant until a couple years ago. What the fuck? I mean, we're through. We don't have a bloody chance. Any other questions or comments about his webinar?
He was constantly reprogramming his mind, his subconscious mind.
Pardon?
He was constantly reprogramming his mind.
Correct. And he listens to me in the morning, to some screaming part, to get his juices flowing and get the synapses firing. And he's not the only one that does that. I mean, Deb said the same thing. And most of the people, even the people that haven't mentioned it, do it. It's now, I like listening to myself. When Sally comes in my office, and I'll be crying. I cry when I listen to myself. God, that's fucking beautiful. I literally, when the kids were still around, and I didn't, you had those tape things that you put in the machines, you know, and I just listened to myself, and I turned and blasted, 6 or 7 speakers in my office. And my Great Danes, I think, the reason they were all deaf by the time they died, and I just listened to myself crying, tears running down my cheeks, off my chin, into my beard, and but I don't listen to anybody else to fire myself up. I either watch old-time war movies, or I watch FDR or Churchill speak, or I watch Hitler speak, who's the greatest orator that ever was, or I listen to myself. And that's, but I don't listen to, Now, some of the guys, and everybody's got a right to make a living, but some of the guys, I mean, couldn't sell a piece of ass in a lumber camp. I mean, but they sell you. They couldn't give away sex, but they sell you. Because you think that $89 or $119 or $40, now it's $49.95. Only today, no other time until 3 months later when we have another fucking sale. Okay, YouTube. Thank you. Oh, fuck.